What it do? Welcome to Prior to. Today it's Prior to Parenthood. I'm your host, Nina Simone, joined by Kevin and Amari.
Hello.
And today's episode is very, very special, not only because you're listening, but because we have our very first special guest with us in the building. Little background. Our lovely host is our 9th grade U.S. history teacher. He's a hashtag girl dad, and he was my favorite teacher in 9th grade. Ladies and gentlefolk, presenting Mr. Michael Williams.
Yay.
What it do? Thank y'all for having me.
All right, tell us a little bit about yourself, experience as a parent, whatever, parenting, advice, whatever, your time to shine.
So before I reveal all of that, let me just say that I was taken aback a little bit by you saying my favorite teacher from year one. You got me here. But so parenting, I've been doing it for 4 years.
Okay.
I'm a dad of 2 girls, 1 4. The other one will be 1 in a few weeks.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so she's still kind of fresh. Every day is something new.
Yes. Oh, my.
Yeah, it's an adventure, but the one thing that I keep reminding myself is that you have to be a reflective parent.
Right.
What you did yesterday
Is
may
not
not
what you
necessarily going to work in the future.
Right. It's an ever-growing process.
I love that.
Kevin is bubbling with questions, so I'm going to let him go first.
Well, before we get into the questions, I would just like to say that I am also a father. I'm a father
Okay.
of 2 as well.
Okay.
I have 2 2-year-olds. I have
Okay.
a 2-year-old who just turned 2,
Oh, my.
and I have a 2-year-old who's gonna turn 3 in December. Actually,
How old are you again?
I'm 16 years
Math
old.
isn't mathing.
So my almost 3-year-old, his name is Rocky.
Oh
He
my,
is a lab mixed with a
Of
golden
course.
retriever, and my 2-year-old is her name is Cleopatra, and she's a
Yes.
great tabby cat.
She's working at the pyramids tonight. Okay.
So first question for Mr. Williams: when did you know you wanted children?
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Ooh, right out the gate.
Oh, my. Did you always want girl or boy, or it's not like you can choose, but
Did you have a
ever?
preference?
I mean,
pro-
technically you can these days.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's a separate conversation for us another time. No, I would say that the paternal instinct has always been there. I would say right around the end of high school when I determined what my profession was going to be in education. Like, I can do this except in a different capacity,
Yeah.
like as my own, not just having somebody's
Right.
kids for like 5-6 hours a day.
yeah. Understood.
To follow up with that, do you think that there is an ideal age for having children?
Oh, that's a really good question, Kevin.
If we're basing this off of like how financially stable you are, maybe, but at the end of the day, the biggest denominator is how responsible can you be, and you necessarily can't put an age on that.
Right.
How old were you when your first was born?
38.
Oh, my. Oh, my mom had me when she was 38.
Same.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So my question is, I saw a little background on my question. I saw a TikTok. You get information from TikTok, right? But it was a TikTok about how this couple prioritized the fact that they were a couple and then they had children. So how would you describe how you balance your marriage and a parent as a parent, because you were married first and then you had children? Is it, I don't want to say it's like a job, but how do you manage those 2 priorities?
So that's actually a very interesting question, because in reflecting on, like, if I had to do it all over again, number one would be I would have spent more time working on the marriage, like
Right.
who we are as husband
Understood.
and wife,
Yeah.
before we start introducing
Bringing people into the world.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Because once they come, that's it.
That's it. And it's final.
And that balance, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but for any good parent, the children will always be the priority.
Understood.
And then you just kind of figure out like where we as mom and dad, husband and wife kind of fit into that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a little bit longer than this. I can't say that I've arrived there yet, because there are moments when I feel like, have I been a neglectful husband? Have I dropped the ball on something
Yeah.
as a result of taking care of the girls?
Understood. And follow-up question, are gender roles present in your home?
No.
Love that.
No,
How would
not
you
at all.
describe that?
No, we are definitely
Just get it done. Whatever has to get done, get done.
a 21st century couple.
Yes.
Like the bigger picture is, as you just said, like if it needs to get done, and if you're able to do it, go ahead and
Just
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is,
Marco.
has being a parent affected the way you treat other people?
I don't think so. I think if anything, being a parent, the one noticeable change, it's made me more self-aware. And when I say that, I mean like, for example, was driving through DC one day, and you know anything about DC, you have circles and you have one-way streets.
Yeah.
And so my GPS rerouted me, and so all of a sudden, like I'm going down a one-way street about to have an accident. I drop an F-bomb, and my firstborn,
Repeat it.
she's like 1.25 at the time. She hears it. I don't think much of it until later in the day. She starts mimicking what I say.
No.
So
Oh,
it's
man.
just like, okay, I just need to be more cognizant
Yes.
of how I carry myself, not just what I say, but just who I am, because kids are watching, not just
Exactly.
mine, but other kids, the kids that I teach,
Yeah.
even the adults that I'm around. So that's the biggest change for me.
Understood. Yeah. You have another?
I could actually follow that up with, isn't it scary to think that you're responsible for raising a functioning member of society? Like that's one of my biggest, I guess,
Yeah.
worries. Because I want to be a parent someday, and that's one of the things that looms in my mind. I have to raise a member
Rainbow Loom.
of society.
So I wouldn't call it scary, but for me, it definitely puts things in perspective. The gravity of my responsibility, like I'm responsible for a life, hopefully a life that will be a functional member of society that has something valuable to contribute. At the end of the day, what's most important for me is that whatever I impart to my children is that it's built on principle and character.
Yes. Right.
I like that question because I was just watching like the Dahmer documentary.
Yeah, and his dad was trying to figure out what happened.
It's like I be wondering sometimes, like, what if I have a kid and then that's the next Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah, they just
What am I supposed to
pervert
do
whatever
with
you
that?
instill in them to something that's completely different.
It's very true.
As a teacher, this may be taboo, but can you tell when the children you teach have not been raised right?
I can.
You can't answer that.
Oh, I'm so tight-faced right now.
If it's gonna get you reprimanded, don't. You don't have to answer.
There are, at the very least, if we're going to keep it a buck, at times I have moments where I'm like, I wonder.
Yeah.
But I don't let my wondering translate into something that may be, for more or less, be none of my business. But at the same time, again, given my profession, outside of just instruction, I'm a role model, and I accept that. And so if there is a certain quality to how you conduct yourself, your character, your work ethic, that I can step in and fill in the gap, then I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Understood. I haven't. This is maybe another taboo question, but are you ever? This is something completely questionable when I ask you this, but are you concerned that? Let me preface this by saying, because children value, not because your children are so young, but when they become older and they value certain things that you haven't taught them, but society has put in their heads how they look and concerned. Are you ever concerned that your children may not be the gaze of their peers? Like, are you scared that your children may be perceived as ugly, or are you scared that they may have struggles when they become older?
So give me an example of struggles so that I can.
Social rejects, socially awkward, social anxiety, not able to not really communication skills, but social skills, because not really if they're being bullied, but because of seeing how everyone else is being treated based on how they look. If they don't appeal to a certain, like if they're not conventionally attractive to people at their school or whatever, they might instill some type of insecurity in them.
I got you. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't a concern, because you don't necessarily want them to fit in, but you want them to feel accepted.
Yes.
And so with that, I believe the most important thing as a parent, at least for me, is that whoever you are, live your truth and be
Yes.
confident in that.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody can't accept you
Just
as you
move on.
project, then yeah, move on.
Understood. Kevin, anybody? Oh,
Ooh,
no,
to
no.
build on that, do you feel that you parent differently because you're raising girls?
Oh, that's a really good question. As a father,
Not yet. That
Mm-hmm.
may manifest a little bit more when they become of age, like
Yeah.
middle school.
Yeah.
But I don't see that now.
Okay.
okay, that's good, Kevin.
So you introduced by telling us that you have 2 girls.
Mhm.
So you had your first child. What made you have another child, and how was that different?
Yeah, how did you and your wife know you were ready for another kid? How do parents define when they're ready for a kid? But answer that after you answer Kevin's question.
I can't speak for every parent. I can only speak from my experience. But with the first one, and this goes back to the courtship days, right? When you're figuring out, okay, so what is your 5-year, 10-year plan? What does that look like? Assuming that we decide to do this thing together called
Yeah.
life. And we made sure that we saw eye to eye when wanting to start a family. About a year into our marriage, full disclosure, because I don't think my spouse will ever hear this, because she was approaching the opposite side of her 30s, it's like my window to safely conceive is starting to do this.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, I understand that we've only been doing us for a little while, but if we're actually going to do the family thing, then we got to kind of pick up the pace a little bit. Now, as far as the second child, we actually didn't have a conversation initially about having
Children.
number 2,
Yeah.
but it started as a result of saying, oh, she's always playing by herself.
Wish
She
my
always
parents
has
had
to
that.
travel with us by herself. And not to say
Yeah.
that she doesn't have friends,
Of course.
but we don't want our only child to grow up by herself.
Understood.
And so that was the driving force behind us having a second one.
That's interesting.
Would you have any more?
I would, but honestly, it's do I have the energy to go through phase 1 of the process
Yeah.
all over
That can
again?
be mentally taxing.
That
Yeah.
baby
Understatement.
stage is something.
Yeah, understatement.
I just know I'm a little hesitant on having children because of that toddler phase where you don't know what they're saying, so you have to guess everything. I don't know if I'm gonna have the patience for all of that when I get older.
That's the stage my brother's in now. And for real, I just listen, when he doesn't want to use his words or the few
Yeah.
words that he does have and he just wants to scream at me, I just scream back. And we be both looking stupid in the target. Look right like this, arms crossed, mad at each other.
That's hilarious. Thoughts, Mr. Williams?
I'm just I'm just in the moment right now. I'm in the moment.
All right. You all have any other
Oh,
questions?
what are some of the things you wish you would have known before you had your first child? In hindsight.
2020.
Okay. So when you ask that question, I'm thinking about the day my first was born. And I'm all excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm a dad now. So I'm rolling off of this natural high. And then we get in the house, I kid you not, I set the newborn on the floor, still in the car seat, and I look at my wife and I'm like, all right, so now what do we do? I'm like, because there's no manual for it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, and it's at that point that whatever parental instinct that you have,
Yeah.
it has to really
It's a
kick
lot of
in.
responsibility.
And so if there was a reset button, I wish somebody would have set me down, like, okay, this is what you could expect
Okay.
in the first several weeks, because I saw some things that I didn't even know physically that a newborn could do.
Oh, my.
I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. But it's like, yeah, if I had that kind of like pregame talk,
Yeah.
I'd felt a little bit more comfortable about it.
Got
Yeah.
you. Kevin.
Um,
The other question. Ask him the question you asked him on the way here.
On the way here?
On the way here. About beating.
I didn't ask him that. I did not ask
Oh,
him that.
well, do you want to answer that question? The question was, what was the most foreign object used to beat your child?
What in the world?
Wait, this might be incriminating, actually.
All the way. No, no.
do not answer
So this is how I will answer that. Never would I pick up anything foreign to hit
Yeah.
my child. Like,
Thoughts
you know,
on disciplining your child?
No, I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
So I understand that there are like 4 types of parenting styles, right?
Yes.
You have the neglectful one, the permissive one, the authoritarian, authoritative. I probably missed one somewhere in that.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that I'm a healthy balance of the
Keep going.
authoritative one, because I do set guidelines, boundaries that I expect to be followed. But at the same time, it's also a very healthy dose of support. I got to nurture my kid.
Yeah.
And most importantly, at the end of the day, they have to feel loved.
Got you.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that idea.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
do you have any more questions?
I do. So,
This
what
guy.
are some of the things that you wish that you would have talked about with your partner before having your first, or what are
that's
some
a
of the
really
things that
good
you did
question.
talk about?
Yeah.
I know you touched on it briefly, but I just want to get into it.
I think you're asking me to like really go back in time with this one, but I actually do remember some elements of that question during our like premarital counseling sessions. I know not everybody does that, but our counselor was like, "So about having kids, where do you stand? Where do you
Yeah.
stand?" And one of the things that we definitely wanted to be in agreement on was if my faith-based system is the equivalent of your faith-based system, and
Yeah.
we'll use the terminology being equally yoked.
Yes, I love that too.
We want to make sure that we're on point with that,
Got
because
you.
you're dealing with a whole different domain of who the child
Yes.
is spiritually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The other conversations or questions of the conversation that we had was about education. Like, what are your values on education?
Yeah.
What type of what are your thoughts on discipline? Because not everybody believes in actually setting guidelines for children. And so those are some of the things that I can actually recall us talking about, but not everything.
Understood.
Okay.
Kev, you got one more question?
All right. So my last question my final question for you is, what are some of the rewarding things about being a father that no one talks about?
Oh, that's a really good
Yeah,
question.
to end it off on a positive note.
Let's see.
That nobody talks about. That one is a good question, but it's tricky at the same time, because I know the conversations. I've been a part of the conversations that dads talk about. Oh, my child is doing this, or my child made straight A's, or they're going to such and such school, or
Yeah.
they're in this profession.
Right.
But the things that nobody talks about, I would say, like, maybe simple things. And again, I'm only basing this off the fact that my children are still very young. Like, my child was able to get themselves ready in the morning. Like,
Yes.
they're becoming responsible, or even like they had the confidence to use the potty by themselves,
Yeah.
or little things like that. They colored in the lines today, or I didn't get a phone call from the teacher being
Yes.
something negative. Like those are many rewards that maybe not are always a part of a larger conversation, but they're still invaluable at the end of the day.
I like that a lot.
Same.
This concludes all of our questions we have for you today. Anything you would like to say before you part?
Oh, absolutely. So, Kevin, I understand that in addition to everything else that you do, that you're a part-time comedian.
I am
No.
a part-time comedian.
All right, so give me one dad joke to another.
Oh,
because you're a
segue to the dad joke segment. Okay,
yeah,
let's
'cause-
go.
Yeah, because you're a parent, right?
I am a parent.
You just gave all
I
the way
love
to
this.
the
Okay. I walked into a bar with my wife. The bartender asked me, would you like a beer for your wife? That sounds like a fair trade. Come on.
He didn't even chuckle.
Are we,
Mr. Whip didn't even chuckle.
are we serious right now?
Yeah. Are you serious, my brother?
I
already
accidentally rubbed ketchup in my eyes. I have hindsight.
No, you didn't.
The first one was better.
I give you credit for the second one.
Okay,
I give
okay.
you credit for it. All right.
Did you know that a lot of medical professionals don't refer to home births as deliveries? Because when you have a child at home, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
I'm done. I'm out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Williams, for being here with us. Are you actually leaving out, or?
No, yeah, I got to go because it's 4:00 and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
First
got to
duty.
post.
You gotta. Okay. We thank you so much.
Thank you for having
Um,
me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the best. Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you so much for agreeing to be here with us and allowing us to have time with you today.
Dissect your mind a little.
Dissect your mind. His frontal cortex? Yeah. Wait, frontal lobe. Sorry, guys.
Y'all
What's
take
left of
one
it?
AMP class, one anatomy and
I'm
physiology
telling you,
class.
my mom said she had a sinus headache. I said, it's in your maxillary sinus, on your occipital condyles. That's where all the pressure is going. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Williams.
Thank you. I
Thank
love what
you.
y'all doing here. Keep it up.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay. Ending with we might have to part 2 this episode because we didn't even get to half of the stuff we had planned. Mr. Williams brought up a lot of good points. I'm going to let you all marinate on those. But I'm about to get into the quote of the episode. And today's quote is from Pinterest. Okay?
Pinterest.
The best place.
Yeah, it's the best place ever. Some people won't support you just because they feel that you don't deserve your level of success. No author has been. This is from Pinterest, guys. I don't know. Once again, we also want to add social media for the podcast is going to be made. Don't know when. When there's a will, there's a way. Just stay tuned. TikToks behind the scenes, everybody's Instagram, rada. You know how that goes. Once again, special thanks to our guest, Mr. Williams. Once again, I'm your host, Nina Simone, joined by
Kevin Herrera.
And
And-
Amari Stevenson.
and our lovely production team. We are prior to. Until next time.